What's going on, everyone? I'm Robert Schmitz here with Run Pass Opinion, and I couldn't be more excited to introduce a friend of mine that I just know you're gonna love. Meet Jacob Infante, Windy City Gridiron's lead draft analyst, who will be here periodically to tell us about some of the best prospects he's finding in his own personal study. Jacob, what do you have for us today?
Hey Robert, today I'm going to be taking a look at the 10 best receivers in the 2020 NFL Draft. Those who have been following the draft over the past few months know how deep of a wide receiver class it is. And for those who haven't been, well, it's a deep wide receiver class. It's a stacked group from top to bottom, with countless wideouts with potential to develop into at least solid starters in the NFL. There are guys outside of my top 20 who I could realistically see as day 2 picks. That's how deep this class is. A quick little bit about myself before we kick things off here. Like Robert mentioned, I'm Jacob Infante. I'm the lead draft analyst over at Windy City Gridiron, which is the SB Nation website covering the Chicago Bears. I'm also a writer over at DraftWire with USA Today, where I cover solely the NFL Draft. And I'll be popping up a little bit on this channel to help break down the draft as we get closer to the day itself. I'm excited to be working with Robert on this channel, so let's just jump into it. Without further ado, here are my top 10 receivers in the 2020 NFL Draft. To start off the list, let's take a look at my number 10 receiver, LSU's Justin Jefferson. Jefferson was a big part of LSU's dynamic passing attack, led by presumptive top pick, quarterback Joe Burrow, and Jefferson should be high in demand in this year's draft. A big selling point with him is that he's a productive and well-rounded receiver who can do a bit of everything and play anywhere on the field. He has great ball skills and can track down and adjust to the ball with impressive precision. His hands are consistent and he's able to secure passes in contested catch situations. Jefferson is also a fluid athlete who accelerates well off the snap and flips his hips well across the middle of the field. He adjusts his routes tempo well, meaning that he's capable of changing speeds to try and trick the defender. He's 6'1", so he has the size to play as a boundary wideout, but I like him best as a big slot, which is the role LSU often played him in. Now, Jefferson's still a bit of work in progress as a route runner, as his sharpness when he changes direction can be improved, and his variety when he releases can increase a little bit. He probably won't be a top guy in any offense, but I really like him as a high-end complementary piece to an established star. So think of New Orleans or Green Bay as possible intriguing spots for him. At number 9, we have Brandon Aiyuk out of Arizona State. After N'Keal Harry left to enter the 2019 NFL Draft, Aiyuk stepped in tremendously as the number 1 option in the Sun Devils offense. Aiyuk is an absolute force after the catch. When he gets the ball in his hands, he's incredibly elusive and shifty and is a tough player to bring down. He's a smart ball carrier who could see the field very well and make smart cuts, and that ability also helps him as a punt returner. As a route runner, Aiyuk accelerates well in his stems and is tough to stop when he turns on the jets. He has shown flashes of being able to identify leverage points and attack them to blow past the opposition. His ability to burst off the snap and pick up speed makes him tough to stop in off-man coverage, where he gets immediate cushion as the ball is snapped. Now, Aiyuk is somewhat of a one-year wonder, as his production was okay in 2018, and he played JUCO ball before that. He isn't much of a physical receiver, and his technique and how he sinks his hips and cuts needs some sharpening. I like him as a second-round target as a number 2 speed weapon, though, so someone like the Jets, Eagles, or Vikings could give him a look. Moving on to number 8, it's Penn State's KJ Hamler. Hamler broke onto the scene in 2019 as one of the most electric receivers in college football, making him an enticing draft option for this April. Hamler's absolutely explosive off the snap and has top-notch athleticism for the wide receiver position. He's a fluid athlete who can flip his hips efficiently and has great body control across the middle of the field. He has the deep speed to stretch the field for an offense and can beat plenty of defenders off of speed alone. He explodes off the ball and hits top speed quickly. And after the catch, Hamler is as dynamic as they come. He has fantastic agility in the open field and doesn't waste any steps in space. His ability to change direction and accelerate instantly is impressive to watch. Now, Hamler isn't all that big. He's only about 5'9", and he isn't very physical in jump ball situations, or in tight window catches, or when going up against press. And while his route running can be more consistent, he's shown some flashes there. Overall, he's an electric playmaker who should be a high-end number 2 target at the next level. If your team needs speed at wide receiver, especially in round 2, think the Broncos, Eagles, Jets, maybe even the Bears. Hamler's a guy to target. My number 7 receiver is TCU's Jalen Reagor. While his stock might be down after a disappointing showing at the Combine, the tape rules all, and Reagor's tape showcases athleticism tremendously. His 4.47 40-yard dash was solid, but his tape indicates his play speed is even faster than that. He has fantastic deep speed and can beat defensive backs with pure speed on vertical routes. He's an explosive athlete who accelerates well off the snap and has plenty of flexibility in his lower body, which allows him to flip his hips and sink them as a route runner. Reagor is a dangerous threat after the catch who possesses very good ball carrier vision in the open field, and he has fantastic agility. Once he turns on the jets, he's tough to catch. Now his hands will have to get a little bit stronger at the next level, and he doesn't offer a lot of value in physical situations. However, I like Reagor as a speedy wideout to take early on day 2, who can play either in the slot or as a field receiver so he can put his speed to good use. I think there's a lot to like in his skill set, and he'll essentially get same looks from a lot of the same teams I mentioned with KJ Hamler earlier. That'll all narrow down to personal preference. Number 6 is Colorado's Laviska Shenault. Now, Shenault recently underwent surgery to treat a core injury he battled throughout the 2019 season, so that knocks him down just a tad here. However, his tape shows that when he's healthy, he's a dynamic and versatile threat who's tough to stop. He's 6'1" and 227 pounds, which gives him a bit of a running back type of frame, and that frame suits him well with the ball in his hands, because he's an elusive runner in space, who complements that with very good vision in the open field, as well as impressive contact balance, breakaway speed, and power. The thing with Shenault that makes him so interesting is his size and athleticism gives him plenty of versatility. He's long, and he's physical in tight window situations, and can box out defenders on the 50-50 ball, but he can also stretch the field as a deep threat. He can even play out of the backfield and contribute on the ground. He had 7 rushing touchdowns in his career, and he could be used out of the backfield if necessary. Now, the big knock on Shenault is that he isn't a polished route runner, and that's true. His route tree is pretty limited at this point in his career, and he doesn't really do a great job of changing up his route tempo, selling route concepts, or sinking his hips quite yet. There's also some concern about durability because he's had 3 surgeries in the past 2 years, so that might cause him to slip into the second round. But I think the physical tools are there for him to be a talented and versatile weapon at the next level. Is he a boom or bust prospect? Sure, but sometimes you gotta go all out and take those chances. I think Shenault could be a guy worth taking a chance on. If you're a team with playoff aspirations and a need at receiver, like Indy or Houston, I say Chenault's a guy you strongly consider. Now we move into the top 5, and my number 5 receiver in this class is Denzel Mims out of Baylor. Now I have the 5th through 10th receivers graded very closely on my board, so when Mims dominated the Combine, it was enough to move him up my rankings all without changing his overall grade too much. And if you like physical tools at the receiver position, then Mims is your guy. Let's go back to his Combine performance a bit here. At 6'3" and 207 pounds, Mims ran an official 4.38 40-yard dash. And as insane as that is, that athleticism definitely shows up on tape. Mims bursts off the snap with great acceleration and has the long speed to stretch the field as a vertical threat. He plays with great body control for his size, and he does a very good job of adjusting to the ball and twisting his body around to high point jump ball as well. He has insane hops and can leap very high, which combined with his height and his long wingspan gives him a massive catch radius to work with. Now, for all the physical abilities Mims has, one area that's arguably impressed me the most has been his development as a route runner. When watching his tape over the past 3 seasons, his intelligence and his technique have both improved tremendously. He's gotten much better at varying his release off the snap and altering his route tempo over the years, and he's shown more promise in his burst coming out of his cuts. With his long strides and acceleration off the snap, he's also done a much better job of effectively eating up cushion and zone and off-man coverage. Sure, his sharpness in his cuts can stand to improve, and he doesn't offer a lot of value after the catch, but Mims has the potential to develop into a legit number 1 weapon if all goes well. He's more risky than the consensus top prospects, but I think his upside could see him drafted late in round 1. The Eagles, Vikings, and Packers all project as possible fits for me.
And I just have to jump in here, Jacob, because Mims actually played for my alma mater, Baylor U, and that means I've had a close look at his development throughout his 4 years in school. His speed is no joke. From the minute he started getting meaningful snaps, he was taking slant passes for huge gains after the catch, even when we went 1-11. But what's impressed me the most about Mims' growth has been how he's grown into using his size. The acrobatic catches he made so often as a senior weren't near as present in his early years, but now they're a hallmark of his game. Mims hauled in key catches for Baylor all throughout his final season, and while he's still plagued by the occasional brain fart drop, he's someone I personally can't wait to see at the next level.
Thanks for chiming in, Robert, and I definitely agree with you there. Mims has the physical tools to be a top-notch receiver at the next level, no doubt, but I think maybe just as impressive as that is how he's developed over the past few years. You've seen firsthand how much he's improved, so I'm glad we're on the same page there. Moving on to my next entry, at number 4, I've got Clemson's T. Higgins. Now, I get that Higgins has been a bit divisive of a prospect that some analysts have soured on since this season began, but I still think he's a fluid, big-bodied, and reliable target who can fit into that X receiver spot and thrive from day one. Higgins is 6'4" and 216 pounds. That's a big dude out at receiver. That size and that length gives him an impressive catch radius, and combining those with his top-notch ball skills and uncanny ability to track down the ball, box out defenders, and secure the grab makes him one of the most dangerous jump ball weapons in this class. For someone as big as he is, he also runs with plenty of coordination and body control. He's pretty fluid and can change direction well as a route runner, and he's also shown some solid acceleration coming out of his breaks. Now, Higgins isn't the fastest receiver out there, and he doesn't bring a lot of agility after the catch, though he is tough to bring down. His physicality through his stems could also be improved a little bit, though the promise he's shown with his size and his jump ball style indicate that can happen. In this deep of a receiver class, Higgins could fall late into round 1 or even into round 2, and have the potential to be a total steal. When looking for fits, I like the Dolphins and Giants if they're looking for him to be a true number 1 weapon, or if you want him to be a high-end complementary piece, the Packers and the Colts stand out as teams who could get him as a high-end number 2. At number 3, Alabama's Henry Ruggs. Everybody already knows how fast he is, but he's so much more than just another speed receiver, and that's what puts him in my top 3. Everyone and their mother knows about the speedy 40-yard dash that Ruggs ran at the Combine this year, and everyone knows that he's an electric speed demon with insane burst in the open field and the talent to take the top off a defense consistently. I'm not going to talk about that though. Instead, I'm going to talk about the other things that makes Ruggs so special. You see, he's not just a one-dimensional speed receiver. He can run routes, and he can run them well. His routes are smooth and precise, and he flips his hips with ease and accelerates well coming out of his breaks. Ruggs can drop his hips, cut or stop on a dime, and completely fool his opponents because they're often so worried about his deep speed that they forget he's more than just that. His speed as a vertical threat isn't all that he is, it's just a part of who he is. He's so tough to defend, because once you find yourself looking to guard the underneath, he breaks free and burns you in a flash. He's also a tough runner after the catch for a skinny receiver too. Don't discount his contact balance and his ability to shed tackles. I know he's pretty light, but that might be the most overlooked part of his game. Now, is Ruggs going to consistently win 50-50 battles? No. Is he the biggest, strongest wideout who can fight through physical coverage with ease? Not quite, but he is a valuable weapon because of the athletic mismatch that he brings and how difficult it is to plan for someone like him. He's a legit first-round prospect who should go within the top 15 picks at least. The Raiders, 49ers, and Broncos all stand out as possible fits to me. Now, these last 2 entries are very closely graded for me, so think of them more as 1A and 1B. With that said, my number 2 receiver, or my number 1B, is CeeDee Lamb from Oklahoma. Lamb is an extremely well-rounded wideout who has legit number 1 weapon potential at the next level. He was a consistent target for Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, even Baker Mayfield when Lamb was a freshman. No matter who threw him the ball, Lamb was a dominant force. He might just have the best ball skills in this class. The way he can just go up, grab the ball, and contort his body to make the catch is nothing short of impressive. He can box out defenders well and high point the ball at a high level. He's a natural athlete who can make the toughest catches look easy. Lamb is a slippery runner after the catch for someone as big as he is. He has great ball carrier vision and knows what cuts to make in order to pick up extra yards. Now, he's 6'2", but he has the elusiveness of someone much shorter, and that agility in the open field makes him evade defenders easily. His hands are strong and reliable. There are very few grabs that he can't make. He's also a smart runner who can attack leverage points and alter his tempo to knock defenders off their game. Now granted, those routes can stand to be a bit more precise as he doesn't always sink his hips or burst out of his breaks as well as he should. Overall though, he brings a lot to the table that NFL teams have likely already fallen in love with, and with teams like the Raiders, the 49ers, and the Jets all in need of number 1 targets, it wouldn't shock me at all if Lamb was the first wideout off the board this year. And finally, my number 1 receiver is Alabama's Jerry Jeudy. Now trust me, it really was a toss-up for this top spot, but I'm simply in love with how efficient and how smart of a route runner Jeudy is. He has so many ways that he can beat you. He understands the concept of route leverage incredibly well and knows how to attack a cornerback's blind spot to make them susceptible to a sharp cut in the opposite direction. He explodes out of his stems and attacks leverage points in a defender's hips, and he knows how to vary his release depending on the coverage he faces. When going up against press, Jeudy squares up to the defender, uses his hands, and bursts upfield. In off-man, he accelerates immediately and quickly eats up that cushion, and by the time the corners accelerate out of their breaks, he's already at full speed. And once he cuts, he is explosive. He sinks his hips very well as a route runner and generates plenty of burst coming out of his breaks, showing off stellar hip fluidity and creating separation with his routes. Jeudy is also incredibly elusive after the catch. He offers sharp vision as a ball carrier and insane lateral quickness with the ball in his hands. Jeudy isn't the biggest, most physical receiver in the world, but he doesn't have to be. His intelligence as a route runner and his quick-twitched athleticism allows him to leave opponents in the dust. I think he offers an Odell Beckham Jr.-like ceiling in the NFL, which I know is bold, but I really think he can be that good. He'll be targeted by the same teams who want Lamb. Whichever receiver gets picked first will come down to personal preference, but expect him to end up with someone like the 49ers, potentially the Jets even, or the Raiders. Those are a couple teams that come to mind. It was a close one, but Jeudy came away with my number 1 receiver spot. And that's my list. How do you think I did? Are there any players you think should have cracked my top 10 that didn't? Do you think my evaluations on any prospects aren't necessarily accurate? Just let me know in the comments, or you can check me out on Twitter here and let me know how bad you think I did. And even shoot me a follow if you want. The more the merrier. Thanks for bringing me in, Robert. I really appreciate it, and I'll make sure to see you guys all again here soon.
Thanks again for jumping on, Jacob. It's great to have your insight around, especially with the draft pretty much right around the corner. If you like what Jacob has to say, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more. That's easily the best way to not only make sure you don't miss anything, but also to let fans all across the league know that his work is good and, of course, help the channel out along the way. We've got some great content planned for you in the future, so you won't want to miss any of it. Thanks for watching, and have a great rest of your day.